This is Carol with CarolJo's. CarolJo's is an online jewelry and accessory business for women. I create all the jewelry and accessories that you do see out on CarolJo's.com. We do lots of things here on social media. Today I am live on YouTube and TikTok. I'm just waiting for social media to announce that I am live and see if everybody gets their notifications. Just depends on the social media if they get them or not. Hi, Rose. Hi, sweetheart strings. And so, what I was going to say is if you are new to me on YouTube and you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. If you're new to me on TikTok, go ahead and follow me. I go live on both TikTok and YouTube 4 times a week at the same time. Good morning, Dolphin Duet. I go live with tutorials and our chat times. I go live on TikTok only for my bead sales, and I do that twice a week. And then once a week, I do a jewelry sale on TikTok and my Facebook group. So that is my schedule of what I do for my lives. My times are Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Central. My time on Friday is anytime after 12:30 for the jewelry sale, and then the bead sales at 7 p.m. And Saturdays I will go live sometime between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Today was 10 a.m. So that is the times. As always on TikTok, Sour Rose, hi Vicky. As always on TikTok, if you guys can do 10 shares and 10,000 likes here, we will do a giveaway. I am going to bring up my backup account so I can see comments. I will only see comments on TikTok. I do not have a backup account of YouTube, so I won't be able to see yours when I point it down. Hello! And it's Rip Mary, right? Because it just says R, and I'm just going off of what memory over on YouTube here. So we are going to switch my account to my backup account. And then go here and here. Okay. I almost put that one down. Huh. I don't need it to go down. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be creating the spiral twist bracelet. This is an example that I did up this week. This is one of my first ones that I've ever done. These are using an 8mm for the center, not 8mm. I keep saying millimeter on them. They're an 8/0. In seed beads, your round beads like these are O's on the end. So this is an 8/0 in the center, the blue and the green. And then the pink or the white beads on here, they are 6mm. Now, good morning, Olive. Today, I'm going to use a 6/0. If I say millimeters, please know I am saying the wrong thing, and I really mean O. So they will be in the center is going to be a 6/0, and the outside is going to be the 8/0. The reason why is that I want to show you guys you can change up the size of the beads while we're doing this, so that you can change that to be your own and do different beads. What I'm also wanting you to understand is that you can change those ones that I'm doing today that are the 8mm for the twist part, which is like here, the pink. You can make them in any pattern you want. Here I'm doing them in solid. I have done them where every other row is a different color on the twist. So like I would do a black in the center and then orange and white, like for Halloween, or you could do white in the center and then the orange and the black. I've done it both ways. You can even do like 2 or 3 of them and then switch and just have it be different going up. You can switch out the bead sizes even. And that way you can create a movement of your eye that's a wave as it's going up on these. So you can do whatever you want. But I wanted to teach you the basic part of it. You learn the basic part and then take off and do it as your own once you learn how to do it. So that is my goal with teaching this today. And as you guys are learning it, even your first ones, if you guys take pictures and post it to social media so I can see what you're doing, it makes me very happy. Really, truly does. And then when you make it your own and take pictures of it of your own, I love that too. So go ahead and post your pictures to the different social medias and just tag me in it. All my social medias are on my website for those of you on YouTube, which is CarolJo's.com. If you go to the bottom, all my social media links are there, so you can follow me or subscribe to me, and then you can tag me in your what you post on you or TikTok. Here, if you go to the CJS logo gets to my hyper or the bio, there's a hyperlink that says Linktree. Tap on it, and there's a list of all my social media, so you can follow me there. And it's just that I really, truly do love to see what you guys make. So that is that. Now we're going to get into this. Today, what you're going to need is 8O seed beads, 6O seed beads, 2 beads at the end. So if you look at this pink one here, you will see I have a bicone bead on each end. So you'll need 2 beads and a clasp of some sort. You get to choose the clasp you want. I always just use toggles with these, and it works. So that is what you will need for your supplies to make it. You will also need Nymo thread to sew it with, because you're sewing these together with a needle and thread. The Nymo thread comes in colors. I usually use more times than not just white. I do have other colors, but this is what the bobbins look like. I use, if you notice here, there's a B on my, let me see if I can get to show. There you go. You can see my B. I'm using size B of the Nymo thread. You will also need something to condition the Nymo thread with so that it doesn't break as you're working with it. You can use something like this. This is just a thread conditioner. Or you can use, whoops, I grabbed the wrong package here. Let me grab the right one. Beeswax. I use beeswax more than I use the conditioner. I just like it the way it feels better. That's my personal preference. You guys pick out your personal preference. So how this works is that you will pull, I've got my needle already threaded because I didn't want to waste time trying to thread a needle and have you guys watch me like we did the other day. So we're gonna just not do that today. But you will need your thread. I use for this one 3 arms lengths of it. I'll have leftover. It's okay. I just rather have too much than not not enough, because I hate adding the thread for it. And that is its own video of itself, is how to add thread to your projects. When it comes off of the roll, okay, the thread is Nymo, and that's Nymo thread. It is size B. So it's all kinky. You're going to pull on it. Oh yeah, you can add thread. There's a knot for it. And I haven't practiced the knot lately, so I can't show you today because I don't want to, I will have to practice it, and then I'll show you guys on a chat night. Just go ahead and pull and pull. See how it's like, there's kink and there's straight. Like that. And then it goes straight. You want to have it straight. Then when you're doing your conditioning, you'll always want your ends to have a little bit extra. So go over your beeswax like 3 or 4 times, and then just pull your, and if you notice, I'm just pulling it through there. I'm holding it down with my thumb, pulling it through. Okay, I'll tell you guys again, not a problem. And then here, like that. That is how you condition the thread. Very easy. But that is one thing. You want to make sure you pull your thread and get all those loopsies out, or the kinks out, because if it's still kinky when you sew, over time, you'll have space in your project if you don't take the time to do that to begin with. And then you want to condition it so it does not break while you're using it. The thread is Nymo thread, Nymo. And then I use size B. There's different sizes. There are different alphabet letters to it, but I use B all the time pretty much. Thank you. She's got country for the follow over here on TikTok. Now, I picked out my colors ahead of time, and they are on my mat, along with, I just have a bead that is a different color than my beads, and it's called my stopper bead. I don't want it to match my bead, so I don't integrate it in with my project. I just have it there to stop the beads from like pulling out and off the edge. So I am going to point you guys down now so you guys can see my bead map and see the colors I chose. So hold on. It's going to take me a moment to get TikTok down because it's really... Okay. There you go. And I'm going to do YouTube now. Hopefully it's all straight for you guys. Let me go there. Okay, you should be able to see. So I'm using 6mm, or I keep saying millimeter. Please no, I mean 6/0 white. And I'm using 8/0 gunmetal. It's not a black, not a gray, it's that gunmetal. So it's an in-between or like a dark gray. And then I have my yellow bead stopper. I've already, you'll use a beading needle. This one is a size 10 is what I'm using. He's a little bent because I've used him a lot. And when you're in here, you're trying to go through the beads and it will bend your needle. Sometimes your needles will get really bent and then you need to stop using them, but I use them bent. I've threaded my needle already off camera before it started, so you guys didn't have to wait for me to do that. But what I do now is take my stopper bead on my needle, bring it down, and leave about just like less than 12 inches, but enough. So let me see if I go this way, you'll be able to see it. There you go. Of thread. You'll use that for the end. And then come up just like, cause see here I've gone through my bead. We're gonna come up the bottom of the bead to the top so that you create a little loop around that bead so it stops it from coming off. This is what I call my stopper bead. You can put a bead stopper on there if you want. It just weighs it down if you have a bead stopper, and I don't like weighing it down. So I just put a seed bead of a totally different color than I am using to do my stopper bead. Then the first time, you're going to grab 4 of the 6/0 bead. Sometimes you'll hear it when you're doing directions called bead A and bead B. So put those 4 on there and then grab 5 of the 8/0s or bead B. Push everything down to your stopper bead. So now it looks like this. You just have a long line of beads. Just like we did with that stopper bead, we are going to go from the bottom through the 4 6/0 beads and come up the top just like this. My beads went down. That's okay. You'll get them together when you pull everything to pull it through. You should have a little circle look like this. Now what you're going to do, 1 of the 6/0 and 5 of your 8/0s. So now every time on your needle, you're going to add 1 6/0 and 5 of the 8/0s. Push them down. Count backwards here. From the top white bead that's next to the black or the gunmetal that I just added. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to count back 4. Take your needle in the bottom one and work your way up. Do you see how this is my end? And I have 1 there. And then go up. Pull your thread through. And then pull it tight. Now, sometimes, you see how these are right next to each other? Those gunmetal ones, your B bead? That is what you want going up the entire time. So you're always going to want to hold these together as you're working your way up. I will show you why you want to do that. I thought I was doing a good job of doing that here on this one. But when you look at this one really close, do you see how there's a little bit of spacing in here? And it really shouldn't be. If you look at this one, you will see how tight that is. This is what you really want. But I wasn't holding that one tight enough when I was starting that one out. So you're going to want to hold that so you don't get that spacing in between and see that center one. So once again, we're going to do 1 of the 6/0s and 5 of the 8/0s. If you have questions while we're going through this, please go ahead and ask questions as we are going through it. I will answer them when I see them, okay? Don't think I'm ignoring you. So once again, we put those 1 and 4 or 5, 1 white, 5 of the gunmetal on, counted backwards from the top and got to my 4th. We got 2 down here because we've been adding. And you just keep repeating this until you get to a little bit less than the amount you need. So once again, 1, 6/0, 3, 4, 5 of the 8/0, push it down. And you're going to want to hold, if you guys watch my fingers, here I am holding all of those beads together before I start going up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, go here, go through it, for the top 4 white, pull that through and I let it go. So hold on, there we go. And pull it through. And as you're pulling this all tight, see what happened here? He wanted to go over. I don't want him all the way over. I want him over here. So I will push him over and hold him tight in there. And what was happening when I was doing my original one, that one with the white and green, is that I was letting this one go. And do you see how when I let it go, I get space in there? You're going to want to hold that the entire time together. And it just takes you, with just pausing for a moment, making sure they're together as you're adding. Once again on my needle, 1 of the 6/0 and 8 of the, or 5 of the 8mm. Push these down. Hi, Grammy. Put those all together, and now I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 from the top. I went through that one and pulling that through. Hey, we got our 10 shares over here on TikTok. Now we just need to get to our 10K on the likes. 1, 6/0, 4, 5 8/0s. And there isn't no magic, there isn't a magic number of how many you need to add to get where you're wanting. You just need to remember that the amount of your closure, which is normally about a 1/2 inch, and then you have 2 4mm beads that you need to account for. So when you're making it, sorry, my shirt's gone cranky here. When you're making it, like if your wrist is an 8-inch diameter wrist, you're gonna make it about 7 1/4 inches long from top to bottom of your twist here. And I'm getting it all twisty here. So when I add this one, he'll go down. But from here to here, wherever you're gonna end, would be about 7 1/4. So it's all based upon what your toggle is, your plus 2 4mm beads, and taking that amount off of the diameter of your wrist. Does that make sense on how you know how long to make it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through. Hold on. Someone wanted to join our live. Sorry, I don't have people join my lives when I'm doing tutorials. So there we go. Thanks, Rose, for letting me know. 1, 6, 0, 4, 5, 8 O's, and add that. And this is literally what you're going to do. These steps that I showed you, you're going to repeat that until we get to our length. So if you guys have questions or want to chat, tap away so we get to our 10K. Go for it. Just make sure you're holding it tight as you're going. That's the biggest thing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no. Oh no. I went through one of the seed beads. So I don't have to take this off. I'm going back through my beads here and taking this last one off because I went through one of my 8 O's, and that one will be in the center, and I don't want it there. And I've never done that before, so that was really odd. There we go. Now he will sit right. Whew! We caught that before it got too far along. When I went to push down the white one, there was one of the gunmetal in between. Good morning, Karen. How are you doing? You want to make sure it's staying together. There we go. You move over, you move over. There we go. Holding that tight. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're fun to make. And what I'm going to do, not next Saturday, because next Saturday on TikTok, we will be having our charm sale. And it will take more than an hour to make. So that's why I don't want to do it on a weeknight. So probably in 2 weeks, we will be doing an additional thing on here with this bracelet. And I also want to give you time to try making one in the next 2 weeks, so that when we go to do the next step of how to make it unique, you guys can have this part under your wrap, under your belt. Three, 4, 5. So if you guys have seed beads, or even like Rose was going to try doing it with 4 and 6 millimeter size beads, which is all right. You just need to make sure when you're using different size beads that the size of the beads allow you, when you're going around in the twist, to lie flat on your center bead. So like this. You don't want them to be all too much that you're going to get lumps in there. And I don't know how else to say it. I have like my end piece was meeting where I was at on the thread. So I had to adjust there. 3, 4, 5. Yep. So the start of it is you put a stopper bead on, then 4 of your bead A, or in this case is a 6O white bead, and 5 of bead B, which is the 8O gunmetal. And then you come up the center of all 4. And then what you're seeing right now is what you do afterwards, every time after. And it will be out on YouTube. Yes, my examples are actually done with smaller beads than what I'm making today. I thought I would show you guys how changing it up and show you the two examples of what having a 8/0 and 11/0 versus having the 6/0 and 8/0 combination. So that's what I want to show you, so that you guys can switch it up and do different styles of beads, different sizes. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yes, I will always share. And I will give credit. This spiral is not something that I came up with. I've seen different things of the spiral, different adaptations of it and such. But I was taught at the bead store that I ended up working at. And their directions, they actually typed up. If they got the directions to do something from, because back in the day when it was the bead store, there was a lot of magazines that would do different beads designs and stuff. They would copy the magazine and hand that out as directions so that they were giving credit to who came up with it. But this one was actually typed up in a Word doc. So I don't know where she came up with this idea. And her name was Rosemary. Her and her husband Cecil were the ones that owned the bead store. Oh, sure, I will. I add a stopper bead, which is a bead of any color other than what I'm working on. That's a contrasting bead. By adding the bead, going down to about where I have less than 12 inches of the thread left, because you want to leave a tail. See, I've left my tail here. And you can see I have my yellow bead stopper, and you go up the bottom of it so that it'll be my stopper bead. Then after that, I add 4 of bead A. In this case, bead A is a 6 millimeter, or 6, why do I keep saying millimeter? 6/0 seed bead in white. And then I add 5 of bead B, like boy. And that is an 8/0 gunsmetal. You go and come up the bottom of the 4 bead A's. So the down here, it would be the first 4 that I put on, and go up. Add 1 of your white and 5 of the gunsmetal, and go back through the top 4 bead A, which is the white. And you just keep repeating that, your second step. So here I just added 4, or I'm sorry, I added 1 of the white, 5 of those, count back 4, come up the bottom. See, this is why your needles get bent, is because if you noticed, I was like trying to get it in there. And then pull it through. I'm going to get that knot out in just a second. And then push this up there right next to the last one, and keep them really close together as you're working it. Let me get this little loopy out. There. Okay, he's out. Hold it tight. Add on 1 of bead A. This bead is abnormal. He's not the same shape. You'll find that in seed beads every once in a while. So I'm getting rid of him. He's just too big compared to the other ones, and it will distort my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Distort the size of it. I am using Nymo thread, and that's spelled Nymo, size B. And then it is conditioned with beeswax. You can either condition it with beeswax or thread conditioner so that it doesn't shred while you're making. One, two, three, 4, 5. And if you guys have questions about how to start it or with what I was explaining, let me know. There we go. Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Yep. And following me on YouTube, all my lives here, when I am live on both TikTok and YouTube, I will save my YouTube ones out there so that you guys can go and watch them while you're doing it. Yes, it is a thread. It is a cotton-like thread and not elastic. And I don't think it's even cotton-like. I think it is cotton. I'll have to go check that out. Like, I've never looked into what it's made of, but I believe it is cotton. You're welcome. And for me, when I first started doing this, I will be honest with you, and it took me like 2 hours to finish one bracelet just doing this here. As I started making them more over and over and bringing them to the shows that I would do, I actually got this down if I wanted to make this just the twist part and this simple, you know, using these size, even with the 8/0 and 11/0 size beads, I could get it made in about 45 minutes. But I was making them all the time. So you know how when you're doing something over and over, the repetitiveness of it means your times go down. When I went to make that other one the other day, because it's been a couple years since I've made these, but I wanted to bring, I do love doing the sewing. It's just not as quick as when you're using either stretchy or wire. And then you can, it took me a little bit over an hour to make the example that I was doing to refresh myself. And then what we're going to learn in 2 weeks is how to add on loops to make them even more spectacular. You can create a necklace using this if you want. You can create earrings with this. So I'm going to pull that. So like when you get to a length that you like for an earring length, you know, a dangle or earring, you gotta stay there. This is a little bit long in my opinion. Doesn't matter about you. You just add on an earring hook and then they're like this. I know you guys probably cannot see, but I will show you. I'm like gonna try. Here, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna bring you up here. Eesh. But I'm not gonna bring you all the way up so that we can go. Hi, Queen Bee. So it's like this. So you would have an earring like that. You just put the earring wire on there and it dangles down. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So you can make different things. They don't always have to be just a bracelet with what I'm teaching you. I want you guys to take this and make it your own. And I now have a piece of hair on me. I lose my hair all the time. Everybody on TikTok that watches me a lot knows that. Whoops, wrong color. I need bead A, which is my white first. And then 5 of bead B, which is my 8/0 gunmetal. Yep. Bring that down. This bead is called gunmetal, is the color, Queen Bee. It's not quite a black, and it's like a dark, dark gray. We're counting back 1, 2, 3, 4, go in. And when you're going through those 4 and you're learning it, your needle is going to hit the beads and it feels like it's stopping you. You just need to swivel the, you know, in your hand, swivel your needle around a little bit to get it to go through. Because if you notice, just one of the things, when you're here, they're not in an exact straight line. They'll be up and down. So when you're doing it, if you notice, I'm kind of weaving my finger through it to get it like that. And it's just a technique that you end up learning as you're going through this. And I know there's some others that are on here that have done using the needle and thread, making jewelry with it. And they may have tidbits too that they could share in the chats of like what are some of the tips and tricks when you're using the needle and thread. And I know we talked about at the beginning, I do my string long enough so that I don't have to add thread. You sure can add thread. Today I'm not going to teach how to add it. I thought we will do that on one of our chat nights or chat times. Hey, Gentry. But always keep your work tight. And what I mean by that is that you want to keep your rows tightly together so that there isn't a big gap in between them. There, count back 4, go through. Push it around so they're close together. See how they're all nicely together here? You don't see any big spaces. That's what I mean by keeping it tight. And I might have to grab some more green. Oh, why do I say green? Of the gunmetal. They both start with G. Three, 4, 5. I actually, when I do this type of jewelry making, I actually get out my cookie sheets, one of my cookie sheets that has the lips on them. I use cookie sheets a lot when I am doing jewelry making. I don't have a lot of the bead boards. Why is that? Okay, here's something I want to show you. I'm like, it wasn't laying right. The reason being is he went over the other one here. So we need to hop him over and put him down in the right spot so he's not overlapping the other one. Whew, we caught him before we went on. 3, 4, 5. I know we're a little bit more than halfway done. We're just going to keep on moseying through this till we can get to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what does everybody have plans for this weekend? Oh no, Rose, I don't like to hear that. I knew you weren't feeling good last night, but didn't know it was continuing into today. And I was trying to remember how many beads it takes to do this. And in all honesty, I cannot remember like what it was. I just remember it was like 1 or 2 tubes of the smaller bead, because they used to do them at the bead store in tubes, but I can't remember the weight. And that has been bugging me so I could tell you guys, but I honestly cannot remember what it is. So I feel bad. I can't remember if it was like 10 grams or 5 grams. I can't tell you. Okay, this is something else that will happen every once in a while. If you notice, my loopy went on the underside of what's longer now, and that will happen. You just need to pull it and make sure it's straight so that you don't have any pieces of string around your bracelet, what you're working on. And that will happen. You will feel it. You just need to. That is true, Rose. That is so, so, so true. Because to keep the cost looking like this the same, they decrease the weight of what you have at the grocery store in your boxes or your cans or whatever it is. And you think you're getting the same amount, but it really isn't. It honestly doesn't take as many beads as you think it would. 5. It's kind of like reminds me of rice. You think you need more rice, so you put it in the pan to cook it. And then when you get done, you're like, holy, it expanded. Yes. See, my grandma wrote everything down in cups, teaspoons, tablespoons, that type of thing, even if it came in a can. Everything was by that way. That way, if it changed or different brands had different weights. But she also canned a lot of her items. And so some of it, it was based upon how she canned. Like, but it was all, she did a lot of her recipes with you telling you like a cup. We were just having a discussion about what my grandparents went through in their lifetime today, because we started talking about they graduated high school just after World War II, and then how their life was and how many wars they had been through and going through the Great Depression and everything. So literally my family had a message conversation about that today. I'm loving these colors together. So it's like that so far. And here I'm using a silver lined gunmetal, and it is also an opaque rainbow for the white. So you can put together different styles of beads, different, they do not have to be like, both have to be opaque. You can use transparent and opaque to create a different look. I'm going to measure this. I'm thinking this is about 5 inches. So let me grab one of my rulers here. Hey, I wasn't too far off. It's 5.5. Okay. So I want to go a little bit more. 4, 5. Yep. I was going to say, when you talk about the stuff that they went through, my grandmother is like, she was really, truly like the person that we all looked up to in our family. You're going to, okay, so these are the containers that I keep my seed beads in, but to keep the latch, there's a little hole here. Beads will go in there. So when I pour them out, I cover up that little hole and pour so that they don't go in there. I learned that the hard way. They don't shut and stay shut if a bead goes in there. And then you're trying to get it out. So if anybody uses that type of container, that is my little tidbit of what I've learned about them. But my grandmother was actually a child of divorced parents. Her parents got divorced when she was very young, which was unheard of in the 1930s, in the Great Depression era. And my great-grandmother went on to remarry, and her new husband, which would be my step-great-grandpa, did not like kids. And ultimately, my grandma went to go live with her dad in the 30s, 1930s. Totally unheard of, and that didn't happen a lot. So she was raised by her dad. Great Depression era. Jobs were hard to come by. And so he ended up working for one of the, and I forget what the program is, but it's where they built bridges that Roosevelt created. And so he was not home Monday through Friday, and he had my grandma. So she was raised by her aunts and uncles during the Great Depression. And he'd come home on the weekends to take care of her. And then he was also in World War II, so she lived with other aunts and uncles during World War II. And graduated early. She was 16 when she graduated high school. There we go. Oh, that is turning out really cool. So there we go. I'm just showing you the work we got so far. But she's the one that taught us no matter what life throws at you, you can get through it. You find the good in it, and you make it happiness. Nope. But, you know, she said she did not have, when she looks back on it, she's like, I can't believe how I lived. She goes, but I didn't know any different, and I didn't think I had a bad childhood. My great-grandfather came from a family of 15 kids. So there was a lot of different aunts and uncles. There were some that she was closer to than others, but she lived with a lot of her aunts and uncles. Yes, it's a beading needle, Patty. I use the Beadsmith beading needles. I'll show you the container here, or what it looks like. I've had these for many, many years, so they might package them a little bit different now, but that is what I use. So they look like this. So you see they do say beading, Beadsmith beading needles. This package has 13 and 10 size needles. They are very, very bendable, which helps when you're trying to go through the 4 top beads. You can bend the needle to navigate through them. I believe they will be They will be thinner than 11 is what I believe it is. I'm going from memory on that answer, Patty. So if I'm wrong, someone in the chat tell me. Yes, I'm going through the size 10 fits through. I've done, this one is with 6 and 8. Or I'm sorry, not 6 and 8, 11 and 8. And it will go through 11 and 8. It goes through the 6 and 8 that I'm working on right now. So yes. I don't know that it would go through a 15. But Len, I have never worked with 15 because to me, they're too small. Like, whoa. I was going to say, what other questions do you have about this? That one is a broken bead. Let's get rid of him. You will find, these are glass beads. The seed beads are glass, is what I use for them. With them being glass, you will find broken beads in there. You do not want to use a bead that has an uneven edge because it will cut your thread and you will lose the project that you're working on when you're wearing it. Not right away, but it'll rub on there and tear it. So if you see any that look like they may be broken, you're not going to want to use those beads in your project. Because after you spend all this time working on these, you don't want it to break because of that. Ooh, that looks kind of pretty. You get over. Whoops, I don't need 2. I only need 1 of you. 3, 4, 5. We hit our goal. Thank you, Rose, for the friendship necklaces. We hit half of our goal is what it said. That's why it was giving me the dinging noise. Thank you. Nope. My ding for the paying of the bills, their invoices, is done through my iPad. And when I have my iPad on to see your guys' comments, then it does not, the sound doesn't happen. So when I'm on a live, you very rarely are going to hear that dinging. If you heard it, it means that I don't have TikTok open for comments on my backup account. Let's see where we're at. I'm thinking we're about 7-ish. Let's see. Hey, I'm more than 7. I am 7.5. So this one will be made for someone else's wrist than mine. Because when this gets done, when we get our closure added to it and those 2 4mm beads, it is going to be more closer to an 8-inch, which is larger than my wrist will do. Now, I'm going to put away these seed beads because I don't need them all anymore. I will show you how I put away seed beads. I have a plastic spoon that I just keep in my thing. I've used this plastic spoon for years, and I just do that and spill them back in there and put them back in. Whoop, nope, that's this one. You just got to put them back in the right container. I have 3 different whites in a row, so I have to stop and look. Use the spoon and it works. Literally, what are you struggling with? So that is how you get to this length. Now, I need to find my closure, and I need to also find my clasp. Not my closure and clasp, my 4 millimeters and my clasp. I'm going to grab the clasp first. I should have grabbed that when I was grabbing beads, but I didn't. All right. Not that tray. It's this tray. All right. I am just going to go with, there we go, this closure here. It is small enough that it's going to blend in with my design and not be too big. This one, you really don't want to have a big closure on the end, because if you have the larger closures and you're using the toggles, it will slip off your wrist. All right. Oh, yep. I've learned crochet from my mom's mom, of all things. So the grandma and grandpa that I was just talking about is my dad's parents. I've been very, 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 very blessed. I knew 6 great-grandparents and all 4 of my grandparents. I'm going to see, more times than not, when I do this bracelet, I actually use my Swarovskis as my ends, the Swarovski bicones. But I don't know that I have the milky white Swarovski. I'm looking here. I don't. But I have the gray colored one. Maybe I'll use that one. Let's see what this looks like. Yep, I'm going to use that one. Okay. So here is my 4 millimeter bicone that I'm going to use on the end. Now, before we put on any of the ends, take your needle, go through a piece of the thread on the top here, underneath it, not through it, underneath, like this. Pull it through, hold your finger in place. You will get a little loop. Go ahead and stick your needle through it just like you would to create a knot. And that's all we're doing there, is creating a knot. That way, if something were to happen and part of your, because this will rub on your thread, if that comes off, you're not losing your entire project because you put that knot in there. Now, put your 4 millimeter bicone on your needle, push it down. Grab half of your toggle or the clasp that you chose, string it on, pull it down. Go back through the opposite direction on that 4 millimeter bicone. So you're going to go back through the opposite direction of going up, you're going back through. So here, I'm going to bring this up close so you can see when I get closer. You see how I've went through? And now you're going to go down the 4 white on the top. Go through those 4 white. Come around. And now go up your 5 gunsmetal, your bead B. And this one isn't always as easy because they're a little bit circular. And now go back through the 4mm bicone. Like this. So we'll go back through it. Around the closure circle. Go through. Holy buckets. I'm trying to hold it up and I'm not going. There we go. I do not know the brand. I'm not using like these would be Czech glass, but I don't know what the brand name in Czech glass is, but they're Czech seed beads. Go back down through your 4mm. Go through the white. You're going to repeat this so that you've gone through your closure 3 times. So we're going to go back down around. Make sure you're on this, you don't have any extra thread around your closure. That happens sometimes. Go up your seed beads, the B seed beads. And then through your 4mm. I do not use like the Toho and the Miyuki seed beads. I use more Czech glass seed beads. They're very similar in size. They're not perfect like the other 2 brands that I just named, but they do the job that I want it to do. And then go through your toggle, go through that 4mm and your first 4 of bead A. Make sure that stays on the right side of your toggle so you don't have extra thread wrapped around there. Now, weave into your thread a little bit. You don't want to go through all of the thread because that knot would be really big then. But do you see how like I am coming up? And if I came up right now, I would have an extra thread around my design. You want to make sure that your thread is staying on the top side of your design. And just by how it happened, my thread is already through there. And just put a knot. Yep. Go down a couple more seed beads of the main bead, that bead A, which is the white one here. So we got 1 knot already to end this end. Go through a couple pieces of the thread, and what you're doing is you're just going through it. Keep that on the top side so that you don't actually have thread wrapped around it. Do another knot. Pull it tight. Go through a couple more of the 8mm. And do your last knot here. So I pulled that through, doing my last knot. Whoops, I don't want to go through that seed bead. There we go. And create this knot. There we go. I just have small little sewing scissors. I use that and just cut off my thread. Take off my extra thread. Yes, I do have extra thread, but then I didn't have to thread add on. Now you guys get to watch me try getting this one on this end. So once again, we're going to try threading this needle on the live. Haha! First attempt, it worked. My bicone beads are 4mm. We're going to do a knot once again on this end. So that if anything were to happen on this end, we'll be safe again. Now we're going to repeat what we just did for the closure. You're going to do your 4mm bicone, your other end of your clasp, and go through the 4mm back the opposite way. I have to, my LASIK is making it so that where I would normally hold it for you guys, I can't see. It's gonna be stinky. Go through that 4mm, get it up there tight. Not tight so you can't get through it, but bring it up close. Go through the 4mm size, or the 4 top A bead. Pull it through. Go through the 5 B beads. Pull that through. Go through the 4mm. I can go through the clasp at the same time. Woo! Come back around. Go through the 4mm and the 4 top A beads. Wrap it around and come up the 5B again through our 4mm bicone. Did not get through that clasp, so we'll do that right now, and then go back down. He is, I'm trying to make sure he's not going to get wrapped around. Yep, he's good. Okay. And then go down 4. I only got 3, so hold on, I got to do one more, and then I'm going to create 1 knot. And we're going to do that 3 other knots. Whoops, my thread came off. You're working with a smaller end on this one, so sometimes your needle will fall off. It does to me a lot when I'm on this end. That is splitting. There we go. Okay. Can't believe I'm getting my needle on. So the other night I was struggling getting my needle threaded, and I've never struggled that much on getting one threaded when we were on that tutorial the other night. And I was like, are you kidding me? We got 1 knot going through a couple of beads. We will go through just part of the threads. You don't want to go through all of them because that'll create a huge knot look. There's 2. Go through a couple more beads. Go through some of the thread. And this is knot number 3. Take off your needle and cut that end of your piece off. And there we go. I'm going to bring it up here, guys and gals. All right, there we're up. And there we're up. So there it is. The bracelet that we just created here on the live. So that is hopefully easy enough for you guys to do for your first needle and thread if you haven't done one before. If you have questions about it, you can always message me and ask your questions, okay? Put the needle away. I always put my needles back in their needle container. I don't know why. Put that in there because I don't like leaving them out for one thing. I don't want anybody to get stabbed with a needle. So what we're going to do in 2 weeks' time is that every single one of these white beads, we are going to create a loop. So it'll add more volume to it. It will add a dimension to it that's different than seeing it like this. And it will also add, just when you see it that way, they are just so cool. I love them. You can use whichever seed beads you want. You use like this one here, you know, like this one we used 8 O's. We would use 8 O's for the loop. And then you, in the center of it, you will put a different bead. It could be this bead here, the white, or you could do a different bead. You could actually use your bicone that you have in there to create that. Oh, you're very, very welcome. So it'll add a dimension to your bracelet that when you look at it, you're like, holy wow. See, I told you it was going to be too big for me. So I will show you guys how this one turned out on my sizing. Let me grab my cone. I can put it on and off my wrist with that size without even unclasping it. This one is an extra large. It is actually 7.5 in diameter. In length, it'll be an 8-inch, but in diameter, it is 7.5. But look at it when you close it. Here, I'll put it on my wrist here too, so you can see. See, that's what it'll look like. There you go. Let me get the clasp moved around there. That's what it'll look like. Isn't that cool? I think they're just really neat. I just have a very small hand and wrist. And I know there are people out there that have larger ones, but a 7.5 goes on and off my wrist without even having to open the clasp. I would love to have a larger wrist to match the rest of my body, but it doesn't. All right. Well, that was what I was going to teach for today. I was going to say Monday, I will not be on YouTube on Mondays. I usually am, but this Monday, the last Monday of every month, is turning out to be my subscriber day for YouTube subscribers. And what that means is on on TikTok subscribers. So down in the yellow star down below is the subscriber button. It is $2.99 for a month to subscribe to me. And you will have on the last Monday of every month, we've been having a special day with subscribers. At 8 p.m. Central, we get on and we do a jewelry sale and a bead sale that is only available to subscribers. They're the only ones that get to comment on the live. Everybody gets to see the live, but only subscribers get to comment and claim those items. So they are the first time that items are going to be out and available. It's jewelry that I made specifically for the subscriber live. So we've got those things going on Monday night. Tuesday night will be bead sale, and that is on TikTok only. So 8 p.m. Central, we do different types of beads for sale. I've got a lot of them already picked up for Tuesday night. I don't have them up here to like give you a sneak peek, but Monday night I'll probably do a sneak peek of some of Tuesday's bead sale. Wednesday will be a tutorial. I haven't picked out what my tutorial will be yet at 8 p.m. Central, and that will be on both YouTube and on TikTok. Thursday night will be chat night. That, if I get a chance to like refresh my memory on how to do the tying of the thread, we will talk about that one in Thursday night. I will not be live this Friday like I normally am. I am actually doing something with the credit union that I belong to and am the board of directors of. And so I am busy with that on Friday night. But I will be back on Saturday at 10 a.m. and we are going to do the charm sale on Saturday at 10 a.m. And I have 2 containers of charms that we'll go through. Hopefully we'll get through. I know last time we did it, we were on for like 5 hours. So we'll see how many we get through in that period. So that is what we have for the schedule for next week. So hopefully you guys can come back Monday night. Even if you're not a subscriber here on TikTok, you'll be able to watch. So hopefully you guys come back and we'll see you then. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.